What's up, Florida Panthers fans? This is the Fifth Line 5R postgame show presented by 5 Reasons Sports. As you can tell by my mood, the Panthers are officially out of the Stanley Cup playoffs, putting an end to their season. The Tampa Bay Lightning beat them 4-0, and they move on to round two. Quickly about this game, the Panthers came in with Spencer Knight again, and despite the 3 goals he gave up, it wasn't his fault at all. He made big saves when he had to. It's just there wasn't any goal support, there wasn't any defensive support, and as you can see, Shane is here. Obviously, disappointing end to this season. We did get 2 games in this series against the defending Stanley Cup champions, but that's never the result you want, especially when you get shut out in the elimination game. So, Shane, what do you have to say?
I mean, I know they're trying to drum it up on TV, but this is just another massive disappointment for this franchise. Right? Like, I know they're going to try and set up a great regular season. You had to play the defending champs, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was awesome. The only bright spot in the series is Knight. I can't help but really wonder about 2 things. Where was Barkov tonight? It's just it feels like
Knight wasn't his night at all.
He's our best player. He's supposed to be a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
Finished 2 of those. Right? And my biggest wonder is I feel like every move Q made in this series was kind of a day late.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It took to game 3 to scratch handle.
Yeah.
Right? I get it a little bit. I understand the risk with the goalie a little bit, but I mean tonight. I mean Spencer Knight still I thought played great tonight.
He made some big saves.
He made some huge saves.
Not his fault at all.
There was the one at the end. I mean, it wasn't like the other games where just little chips were getting past him. It feels like, man, you kind of wonder. It's like, and it's still you don't want to go with the 20-year-old in the playoff, but I mean, doesn't a great coach make that gut call 2 games earlier?
The goaltending one, it's tough because you first of all, Spencer Knight might not even have been on the team in a non-COVID year because obviously the Panthers didn't have an AHL affiliate this season, and Syracuse was already packed with goaltenders. So if they sent him down, he wouldn't have gotten a single game in, and it's not their AHL affiliate, it's Tampa's. So that's just doing a disservice to that organization for letting you bring your players in. That's why Knight was here in the first place. And obviously this was his first loss. And by no means did he play bad at all. And I think going into next season, it looks like it's his job to lose. And it's hard for me to say that about a 20-year-old because you don't see it often. The last guy I remember being this young, this young, is Carey Price. And we saw how good of a career he's had already, a Hall of Fame goalie. So there's going to be a lot of questions heading into the offseason about what do you do? Because Drieger's a UFA. He's going to be gone. You have Bob on a full no movement clause, and he still has 5 years left on his contract. And
I think you need to have a call. Like, did you guys? We could talk about this, and we get Manny in here about a little bit more long term. But I think the thing with Bob is you need to pull him in a room and be like, "Do you want to be a backup goalie?"
Well, the thing is, you can't even trade him. There's only one goalie making as much money as him that would be traded, and that's Carey Price. Because even though his team's down 3-1 in a series, he's keeping them alive in that series. Where Bob even though I thought he was okay during the regular season, he's making too much money to be okay. He needs to be doing what Vasilevsky did. Because Vasilevsky saved this Lightning team.
That's the frustrating part. I mean, even it's the games we lost, and just on focusing on tonight games, it just felt like we were the better team.
Yeah.
Tampa just plays that way, kind of like we discussed after a couple of the games where it's just they play this shooting on us and we're just going to counter with efficiency. And I mean, the Bennett penalty was. I mean, I think every single Panther fan knew at that penalty was 2-0.
Yeah, I knew it right away, and
Yeah.
I watched the replay. I think it was right that his stick was held, and I've seen those headlocks 1,000 times. The helmet coming off, I think, was why he got the penalty. He didn't have to do that, but I honestly don't think after the replay it should have been called. But you know what? What's done is done. That was the 2-0 goal. And, the thing is, Sam Bennett was good in the playoffs in the games he played, except tonight. No one was good tonight. And then he was really good in the regular season. So I think priority number 2, after you figure out what the heck you're doing with your goaltending situation, is to re-sign Sam Bennett, because he's an RFA. You have his rights, and you're going to get a good discount on him. But we can talk about that tomorrow. Let's talk a little bit more about this series. I don't think Barkov just. What do you think?
I haven't been, I think, this heartbroken about like a playoff loss. I think since, or like it with any South Florida team since the first LeBron year, or like the last the Dolphins playoff loss in the Chad Pennington year. Like I don't know. And I want to say I thought they'd come out and play better tonight, but man, it felt like they did everything they could, right? Some of those were just too cute. There's just kind of that picture on the that's circulating around. Someone tweeting goes, Barkov kind of looked like he could have just elevated and flipped one in.
I'm telling you right now, if he actually saw the net, the thing with Barkov was throughout this regular season in the past, he's been a pass first guy, and we've been calling for years, shoot the damn puck. Today he
did more this year.
This year, after he came back from his injury, there was only one guy in the NHL who had more goals than him, and that's Austin Matthews, who won the Rocket. Barkov, when he shot the puck, was dangerous. And if he had that shoot the puck mentality tonight, he didn't even have to look at the goal. He should have just elevated that puck, because when you're in alone on the goalie, you don't make that extra pass. You put the puck towards the net. And it would have been a 1-1 game at that point, because that puck was going in.
Yeah, and all the momentum would have flipped. I felt like if we just would have got it tied, that it would have almost carried in the complete opposite, as it did in Game 5, where it's like, okay, we got it tied. And, at the end of Game 5, they had the penalty kill. They scored early in the second. And then you just kind of knew that, okay, like it's our night. We're kind of the team in swing. And they never were able just to kind of get over that hill.
I'm just like I've been here too long, whether it's regular season ending or now it's what you made the playoffs twice and one and done.
Yeah.
It just sucks that once that Vasilevsky picked this game to have his second best game of the series, in my opinion. Barkov, I don't think he was 100%, but again, I'm not going to make any excuses. He's your captain. He's the one supposed to lead. Looked too hesitant tonight. He looked like Huberdeau, right? Like last game, not saying that Huberdeau had a bad series because he didn't, but last game, Huberdeau was also setting up to pass instead of shooting, right?
The thing with Huberdeau is he's the better passer, and that's why he had 10 points in 5 games. It worked out more for him.
Yeah, it did. But I also feel like
there's
the same. Yes,
there's times with like Barkov's size. I'm wondering, why isn't he the guy in the front of the net, like crashing, playing dirty, just based on his size? Like
Shane, but he's just not that dude, man. He's not a Hornquist. He's not a Tom Wilson that's going to stand in front of the net and get cross.
We talk about it with Bam all the time. You're so much bigger and stronger than everyone that's guarding you. Drive the rim. So much. When Barkov actually realizes how good he is and how the only guy in the NHL who's stronger in the corner on his legs is Sidney Crosby. That's the only guy.
Sidney Crosby is the only one that can get cross-checked in front of a net and have his right hand out with a stick and deflect it for a goal.
And Barkov can do that. It's just he's not aggressive enough. And
he doesn't through the blue line.
More aggressive.
Nobody takes it into the blue line better than Barkov. You see 4 guys standing around, and he gets it. He gets it through, gets the initial check. The rest of the team catch it throughout the season. This is it. Barkov carries it through the blue line. Fights off that initial guy. It always makes that really good first pass to get them in their offense, right? And it's just like, man,
that's where it ends. That's where it ends.
Yeah, and if you decide to drive, just keep going. They're going to have to hook you. They're going to have to hold you. I mean, like Barkov could be, in a way, could be Dwayne Wade in the 06 finals and just
I do
around
think
the net.
so.
It's like, to make a basketball comparison, it's.
You remember in game, I think it was 3, when he went down in the first period, he has not looked the same since then. Because game 1, he looked dominant.
That's what I wanted to kind of say.
We can't make assumptions, but
that's what I was saying.
We're gonna find out in a couple of weeks if something actually happened and he played through it. Yeah. But like he still was top 5 coming into this game in points in the NHL for the Stanley Cup playoffs. He had 7.
Yeah,
that's like off of him not looking even 80%.
I think his shot. I think I'm just making an assumption. I think it has to be something in his hand or something because he seemed. You got to remember he scored. I think he scored the first goal in the series for the Panthers, right?
On the power play.
On the power play, and
he never shot the puck like that again, though. Right?
Yeah,
and if you watch the replay of when he got hurt, it looked like it might have been something on the wrist. And I can tell you, as a guy who played hockey and has hurt his wrist before,
that hurts.
You can't. It's called a wrist shot for a reason. It's because your wrist.
But even if your shot is a slap shot, the power and momentum that you got to be able to have once the puck is coming in your direction, and then you have to aim it. It definitely affects everything you do, like your whole motion. But again,
and you wonder with Duclair because
he was absent tonight, man. He had such a great bounce game last game, and tonight nothing from Frank Petrano.
You buried him on the 4th line, and I didn't think Frankie had the greatest series. He had the one empty netter goal, and I'm just like, Duclair could be an X factor. And they waited. I said it on Twitter. They need to put Huberdeau with Barkov. They need to put Duclair with Bennett. They did that with 8 minutes left. It's too little, too late.
But again, I feel like Vasilevsky picked a heck of a moment to have his second best game of the series. And when you have a goaltender that's making those reaction saves with them big ass pads, I mean, again, that's what I was trying to say at pregame. You got to shoot it, no matter what angle. You just got to shoot it. And I feel like tonight. Some were shot, but then you had nobody in front of the net.
The rebounds were there. The
rebounds were, bro. So there were so many rebounds in the second period, and yet we were so half a second slow, man. We were never there, dude.
Is the rebounds, and
then Hortquist had an opportunity. If he would have lifted the puck instead of trying a 5-hole. I mean. But once again, you have power play opportunities,
and you know what? The power play looked like it was moving. The puck was moving really well, except they didn't shoot it.
But do you know the moment that I knew this game was probably lost? Sam Bennett's stupid penalty, man. You dumped the puck into the offensive zone. You've been circling the second, man. It's your game. You've been doing such a great job. You dumped the puck in, and then you just knocked the helmet off the guy. What are you, Frank Petrano? What's wrong with you?
Especially that they got the power play kill at the end of the period and at the beginning of the period. You felt like, okay, we got our one. We got away with our stupid penalty, right? And you felt it, man. We said this. If there was a live bet on Tampa scoring on that Bennett power play, I mean, you're the odds maker. You're setting it at -600.
Yeah,
-700. Everyone knew. I think every single person knew it was coming. We got away with the one around the first period. We slammed it shut like we did in Game 5. Like I thought that's what won Game 5 for us was that power play stop, and Knight had some big saves, and the crowd got super into it at the end of that first period. But you felt like that was coming, and it just, man, and how many it just felt tonight. Save Vasilevsky. I thought they.
Yeah. Oh man!
The worst part is I don't think they ever really challenged him. It was a lot of shots, but it seemed like a lot of just kind of.
No, Shane. But you even said it right. There was nothing in front of him that was, like he could see everything, but even in the shots that were so quick, he just had those saves. He even made a save in the second without his stick.
Yeah,
like those are things that you can't really do.
The goalie that you're gonna beat on a clean look. There's probably 2-3 goalies in the league that would just make almost every save on just a clean look, and he's one of them. So you need traffic, or you need to get power plays, or you need to get bodies to the front of the net. every goalie has a weakness. His weakness is there's big rebounds, and the rebound control is not there. And we saw it today. Even without his stick, he'd make 4 big saves, and the puck sits in front of the net, and there's just no one there.
It feels like when this probably happens a lot in hockey, and when a goalie's staying on their head a little bit and they're blocking it, you feel like in order to score, it has to be an open net. So you start getting away from the basics. And they did this a lot in the second period where it was just, we got to make that perfect pass where the guy can just walk in, right? Like that's almost what it felt like they were trying to do. When you do that, it only kind of, Manny, I wanted to ask you this with kind of, I think we talked about just before you jumped on. I'm sorry, but and I don't know. I think there's some limiting aspects with the players. So it's, one of those things. I'm not here to be super critical or say fire Q or anything, but it felt like a lot of the moves this series were a day late, a game late.
I would definitely agree with that. But my thing is, you don't really know what moves to make until it happens, obviously. And then, that was one. Okay. So that one I would give you.
I think
but even besides Yandel doing all those blunders, game 1 you should have had. Game 2 you should have had.
You know what?
You know what I mean? It's just so many one plays that the Lightning did after getting outplayed for 10 minutes, and they get one opportunity and they score. Shame, dude, for a team that has not been through these type of situations. That's demoralizing, dude. And listen, we shouldn't be saying fire Q, man. We all know that.
I'm just saying what distinct, in a series as close, what move did he make where it wasn't just seemed like I heard someone talk about on the radio the other day. It seemed like every move became like to the point where the fans were like, everyone knew you had to Jandel. Everyone knew you had to start Knight at that point. It's not like he made some gut call.
But granted, I'm taking the risk. When it's the goaltending situation, we've seen it, right? It's Bob's up here 1-9, and then all of a sudden Drieger had to pick him up. And then when Spencer Knight had, I think he probably played one game here and there, he shined. But yet we didn't know yet what really that was about. And the only way to know about these types of situations is going through the playoffs like this.
I'll tell you about the coaches. There's not a lot of coaches in the NHL I'd rather have than Q. And I do agree that some of the decisions seemed a little late, but I look around the NHL and I see it all the time. Where a coach makes a questionable decision.
And it hurts them.
And it doesn't work out at all. I think throughout the season, Q's made choices which kind of looked weird, and then they worked out. He kept benching Tippett over and over again, and then Tippett.
I agree with that.
And Tippett grew that F up real quick.
He's a rookie player, first year, and
I find myself frustrated with Tippett.
The thing with Tippett is he went from a guy that I thought they were going to trade. I honestly thought they were going to trade another first-round pick 3 in a row. Tippett's not leaving this team because the potential is there. And I didn't understand Q benching him over and over again and sitting him and doing all this and all that. But it seems like it helped mature his game a bit. Now, I do agree some of the decisions could have happened a bit earlier, but I can't sit there and criticize a guy that's won as much as Q has. And this is a new team that he's had. Short season, 56 games, not an 82-game season. You didn't have preseason. There's so many new players, and you come up against the Stanley Cup champions, the defending Stanley Cup champions. This was the worst matchup. This and Vegas would have been the worst playoff matchups for the Panthers. No one else would be like, if we played Carolina, it would be a different series. As we see, Nashville almost took them out last night, and took the series lead. It's just you came up against a way more experienced team. And the little mistakes that you've seen the whole year or the whole time that we've had some of these players, like too much passing or this and that, like it just showed up again, especially tonight. So,
I don't have any more to say. I mean, listen, I can't wait though to see what Zito and Coach Q do in the offseason.
Well, remember, Aaron Ekblad's coming back, and
everybody's coming back, but
badly.
If I can
need another top 6 defender.
If I can be completely honest, I don't think Hubie will be back. That's my opinion.
Huberdeau?
Yeah.
He still has 2 more years, right? No, man. He has.
I can
You know,
sense the frustration.
Someone just
dude, and I
messaged
don't.
me say they think he's gonna walk away. I think people. Are you kind of looking? Well, maybe I'm asking you. Is it kind of that emotional frustration of like, yo, I've done everything I can here? I mean,
What more does he have to prove? He has nothing to prove.
Well,
right? Like
he's got 2 more years
like
left.
It's not a Stephen Weiss situation.
Well, he's nothing
Right?
like Stephen Weiss. This is a way better player than Stephen Weiss.
That's what I'm saying, right? So at some point,
there's not many places Huberdeau can go, right? So he has so many years on his contract left where this is a guy who was top 5, top 6 in points for the last 3 seasons.
Alex, this is the only thing that I will tell you, okay?
Yeah.
And this is coming from the mouth of our man Bill Lindsay. He told me, when you're in the league for this long, especially as many years as Jonathan Huberdeau, there's only one thing on your mind. There's only one thing you want to accomplish. There's only one thing you want to hold up at this particular point of your career.
Yeah.
And it's the Stanley Cup. Okay.
I just don't think you don't see it a lot with players that have made the playoffs, like specifically this season, requesting trades in the NHL. Like we
it's
saw it
now because of COVID per se, right? Like plus there's a hard cap. Not to mention there's another team entering the league.
There's a hard cap. Huberdeau's in for a gigantic payday. He's gonna make the Olympic team next year, and he's solidified himself as one of the top wingers.
The only way he gets out is ask for a trade.
Yeah, and the return for him is going to be insane because he has team-friendly deals so many years left. Like, if it happens, you're going to get a lot back.
By the way,
you know what? I got it
right now. Let me just say this right now. I need to see Spencer Knight in net next season.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need no AHL experience.
No, he's ready.
Or whatever. No.
Yeah, he played really good.
This young man here, to me, has something special. And we just cannot have him sitting on the bench.
No, he's ready.
Honestly, you have no other choice. That they can't go out and spend even middle money on a
because obviously you owe Bob a lot of money too, right? So
they front loaded
but Shane
can't buy him out.
Shane called it. Bob, can you be a backup?
That's the point. You got to get over to Bob and be like, "Yo, man, you're like you have to have some pride. You got to work with us." I think you
had 2 years. You have 2 years, Bob. 2 years.
And
at times better than you, and Spencer Knight outperformed you in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round.
Well,
I don't care.
Well, if Bob says no, and he violates his contract, then the Panthers don't have to do anything. The Panthers don't have to do anything because they can't buy him out because the contract is just stupidly front loaded right now. He's not going to play as the starter next year because Spencer Knight clearly has shown that he can perform in the big moments. And if Bob says, well, I don't want to be a backup, no one's going to trade for him. He has a full no movement clause. So say one team in the NHL, say Arizona's like, sure, we'll take him if you give us a first because Arizona has stupid amount of cap. And he's like, I don't want to live in Arizona. I don't want to play in Arizona. Well, then too bad. It's too bad for you. Then you violate your contract, which isn't going to happen. But yeah, Bob's going to have to be the backup if they want to be the backup next year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there's lots of Huberdeau talk on Twitter.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
I saw someone say they wouldn't be mad if Barkov didn't resign.
I have never seen Huberdeau so frustrated.
Oh, he was crying after the game.
I have never seen him so emotional, and I know he's sitting in his locker room right now, and he's probably looking at Barkov on the left, looking to the right, and it's like, what do I do?
Well, I just don't think there's enough teams in the NHL where he's in a better situation. Like, obviously, it's hard for me to say better situation when you haven't won a playoff series, but he's the guy in Florida. He really is.
Have their roster issues with Bob and stuff, but in reality, I mean,
he's not bad at all.
He does have to look at it. If they all come back and Ekblad's healthy, and all of a sudden you insert Anton Lundell, who I saw,
who's nasty. Who
scored. I watched him score in the World Championships yesterday morning. If you bring back a Bennett, and obviously you got to. I don't think they don't have the money and the flexibility to get another true top 6 defenseman, but
maybe not a top 4, but a top 6, yes, you could because Stroman is expiring after next season, which is $5.5 million. So you can bury him in the AHL, and you're going to have cap flexibility because Zito made some moves during the season where he got rid of I'm blanking on his name. They sent him to
Connolly's.
Brett Connolly. They dumped his contract. That's gone. You have a lot of cap flexibility going into next season, the offseason after next year. So I don't think the cap's an issue for the Panthers besides that Bob contract.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're going to find a way to do something. Like they gotta figure. Like I'm sure they're gonna hit. They might call Andy Ellsberg and then Pat Riley to be like, "Hey, man,
hey Andy, are you able to figure out hockey salary cap for us?"
Yeah, he comes in and cracks his knuckles and be like, "Yeah."
Hey,
there you go, Jimmy Butler here.
Seeing everything that's like
if I get rid of Tyler Johnson, that's
hey, what those two did with those terrible contracts we had pre Jimmy. I have full confidence in them to figure out what to do with some of these contracts.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think this isn't like. I don't know, man. You know what, though? I felt like this after 2016 in Islanders, right? When you had Trocheck and all that, you felt the same way. And just that next season, remember, Huberdeau got hurt, and it never materialized.
You have to remember how young that team was compared to now. And I'm going to be honest with you. When Ekblad went out with the injury, I thought the season was over from there. I didn't think they'd do as good as they did. They made some moves that without the Ekblad injury, I don't think I saw happening. I think going into next season, it's going to be better.
Here's something interesting. Dan Rosen of senior writer for NHL.com said in the handshake line, John Cooper just told Joe Quenneville, your bleeping team is so bleeping good.
Yeah. And that's from a guy who just won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, so I think this is the first time the Panthers are on. It doesn't feel that way, but
well, before we wrap it up, I'm going to agree with that point right there. The Lightning, years 2015, they went to a Stanley Cup, or around then it was a Stanley Cup final. They didn't win until 2020. They went through years and years of like, we have the best team in the NHL, we have the best potential, we're not doing anything, and then it happens. The Panthers are still a young team, and it's like we've seen Huberdeau, we've seen Barkov in this team for so long, but that's because they started at 18, 19. And it's not time to like end it all like, oh, we got to blow it up. Not at all. This is year one of the Zito experience. Is the best GM this season in the NHL. You just have the defending Stanley Cup champions play a really tight series with you. This team will be back. This team will be back with Aaron Ekblad, who had a Norris Trophy caliber season this season. They got Sam Bennett, who I could see being here for the long term, along with Huberdeau and Barkov. You still got team-friendly deals in Verhaeghe. Duclair's probably going to come back because he likes it here. You've got a lot of flexibility going into the offseason. This is the playoff loss for the Panthers because the Islanders one. That wasn't the same team. These guys were young. This team was good this year. Huberdeau's an all-star. Barkov's an all-star. They're going to be back. It's tough to say it now, but they will be back. So any last words, Shane, before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, it won't get easy, though. I mean, you got to look next year. You're in a division, though I do think Tampa's going to step back. They do have cap issues.
Yeah,
but you're still in a division with Tampa, Boston, and
Montreal,
Toronto. And like so.
But I think that's still a top 4 team, the Panthers, in that division. So it's going to be tougher, though, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably continue. We're going to continue to talk, and as more things kind of emerge on what more long term with the season with Manny.
Yeah, for sure. And we're definitely still going to be covering the playoffs. Check back in about a week. We'll be talking about the second round. There's still a lot of playoff hockey. Unfortunately, our Florida Panthers are out, but there is an offseason to look forward to, and there's still a lot of playoff hockey. So from the team over at Fifth Line 5R and 5 Region Sports, I just want to thank everyone for all their support throughout the season. We started this thing in January, and it kind of just picked up out of nowhere. We got a lot of following, a lot of fans. So I'm really appreciative for that. thank you so much for watching. And let's just make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Turn on the post notifications. You can check out the 5 Reasons store if you want the Cardiac Cat shirt, but you might want to look over towards the Dolphins season now. It's Tua QB1. You can check out the 5 Reasons football team over there. They have a lot of content coming out. And once again, thanks so much for watching. You can follow us on Fifth Line 5 Hour. We'll keep you updated throughout the playoffs. But with that being said, this puts an end towards our Florida Panthers coverage on the season. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Manny. And thank you, everyone, for watching.